Kids and cadets, happy Monday. Hopefully, you had a nice weekend. Good to see you all, beginning of the week. So, we had worked on this red turd. I took it in on a trade from a criminal that's on house arrest. Anyway, he said he didn't work on it, but I think he did. There was stuff missing, new parts on it. So, we kind of went through this thing. I ended up putting it back together. I grabbed a HIPAA carb kit I had gotten. So we're going to use the pre-filter and the filter off of this kit. This thing was missing all the gaskets. I don't know if he threw them away or what, but he put it back together with no gaskets. I stole 3 gaskets out of the kit. They give you a bunch of gaskets for different applications, so that was fine. That's that. So yesterday, Digital Music Services One, a long time viewer and subscriber, wants me to show you how to sharpen blades or how I do it. So this blade on the crafty M140 needs to be sharpened. So Snaky and I are going to get busy with that project. So after we slap the blade back on, it will start this thing. I think I started it last night after I put it all back together again. It started getting dark and I kind of blasted through with the project. There was some other things I noticed last night and I rectified. One of the wheels here was locked up. The hub actually rusted to the axle. I ended up getting that loose. I lubed up all 4 wheels so they turn nicely. When I went to start it, this recoil rope's only about 2 feet long, so that was another screw up. It almost pulled my arm out of the socket. I thought the engine was locked up, but the rope is just short. So we got to rectify that. I got the replacement somewhere nearby. Okay, here it is. I went to get a black one out of my stash, and I just got these that I got on a Labor Day sale. So to start this thing, we'll use this aftermarket. This one here just needs to be rebuilt. I got to get rid of that string and put the proper amount of rope, not string, on that. So what else are we doing? This is what he had on there. Chopped off one end of a long filter, so we're going to throw that in the trash. What else did I find? We had found yesterday he put a aftermarket nut on here with a washer. I stole one off of another Honda machine, so we're going to put 3 nuts on it that match. It's always good to have matching nuts, and today's no exception on this 2019, 9th month of 2019. So what else? We had discovered he put a new coil and plug on it. Oh yeah, I got rid of the Champion RC12YC. I forgot who it was. I should have wrote it down to give you credit, but they said it needs an NGK. So I stole one off of a Honda. This is a GCV 160 on this, according to the barcode on the back of the tank. Let me grab my DeWalt, which has the 10 on it. Let's start with the recoil removal first. Hope you guys have a good week this week. I'm kind of watching the Yucatan Peninsula There could be a low pressure forming down there. Both models have it going up into the possible Florida Panhandle or Alabama, but you never can tell. Mother Nature is unpredictable. It could turn into Southwest Florida. It still is hurricane season for another 6 weeks at least, so I'm going to keep my eye on that. Might have a rainy weekend coming up. Friday, Saturday, that might hamper my sales. I think I only sold 2 over the weekend. That gave me a chance to get my inventory up. I really hauled ass Sunday and fixed some stuff. I'm looking at the front here. I've got, looks like five units. A lot of people message me. They seem to be time wasters, is what I think. They ask for the address. Will I be here? I wait all day and no one shows. I must have had 15 messages Sunday for the used stuff, and I'm also selling some Power Smarts with the 300E, I believe, Briggs engines on them. I mentioned that before. Had like 4 people message me on those and they didn't show, so I don't know what the deal is. Dino and Clucky, I'm going to turn this over to get the blade off. We got to show Digital Music Services 1 how to, not how to, how I do it. There's all kinds of ways of doing it. If you got a bench grinder, I just happen to have a cheap Harbor Crap grinder that I use. So 5/8 on this. So we're Mr. Safety today. I'm going to take the plug wire off just to prevent any accidental startup, because once this thing starts spinning, there's gonna be bloodshed. So I got a little block here, 4x4 block, which is helpful to keep the blade from spinning so I can get a good bite on the nut or bolt. So let me see where I can jam this up into the plastic there. Hopefully that holds it. Sometimes you got to move it around to different locations. And I got a longer one, but I'm using that up on the table to do the blade sharpening. So it looks like there's a bunch of possibly fish line. Let's try to remove that since we're here. Wow, there's a shitload of it. Let me grab a blade, razor blade, and try to get that off. I might have to go with some cutters because the razor is just not doing it. So hold on. Unexpected delay at Tommy time. But it's nothing we can't handle under a shade tree. Is it wire or fish line? I think it's fish line. Geez, I hope the fisherman didn't get pulled into the blade. It's like 10 feet of line wrapped up here, and it is heavy fish line, deep sea. It's not light duty. If you're out fishing, dispose of your broken fishing line appropriately. Don't leave it behind. Wildlife get tangled up in it and die a horrific death. There's wildlife rescues that go out and try to save these. It's mostly birds, but it can get wrapped up in sea turtles, you name it. Okay, we're making tracks. I might call it quits here and just keep going with the video, deal with this later, but I think we're making progress. You guys, your time is valuable. There goes the electric Amazon Prime van. All you hear is the tires rolling down the street. Battery powered. Very quiet. Okay, we're doing it. A couple more snippy snips. Holy cow, that was a huge mess. And there's some smaller twine or string. Sometimes you just gotta grunt and move ahead. Okay, we got it all. That was a shit show. Okay, blades off. Let me move you up to the table. Try to figure out where to put you where I don't burn your face. Okay. So here's the one we're gonna sharpen. So let me show you a brand new blade. Typically you'll have a 34 to 35 degree angle on these, so I follow the angle, the original angle. So I'm going to set my grinding blade up and just mimic what's there. I'm not going to put too much of an angle or a steep angle or not enough of an angle. I'm going to mimic what's there and just get a nice edge on it. That's what's going to happen. And I got ear protection and I got glasses on. You want to make sure you save your hearing. Religiously, I put earplugs in every time I'm operating a electric powered deal. Really noisy. Over time it'll affect your hearing. So that's the old one just sitting there temporarily. Let's grab the one we need to deal with. So if it had big nicks in it, sometimes people hit rocks. I don't try to keep grinding the nick off. I'll just go past it and get everything sharp next to it. So there we go. Snaky likes the sparks. I'm going to get him up here to supervise. So I may have changed the pitch a little bit downward. You can see all the rust marks there, but it's pretty sharp. I probably should have had the blade tilted back a little bit. So I'm going to swing it around and do the other end. I don't mess with balancing them. I know there's contraptions you can use to get them to balance. If they're really bad, I just throw them in the scrap pile for the scrap guys. If the lift is all sandblasted, I just had one here a minute ago. I already threw it in the pile. The whole back end was like cut off right through this area. And sometimes people have already sharpened them and you got a big cutout like that. I toss those. So digital music services 1, that's how I do it. I don't concentrate too much here in this area. Your grass cutting is going to be down here, and the one, I believe it's 1/3 end of the blade, right in this area, is where the majority of the grass cutting occurs. So that's fine. Let me grab a universal one here that I hadn't sharpened yet. This thing is really flat, flatter than a butter knife handle. Let's see if we can do anything with this. You can see a little bit of a bow here. Snaky, you gotta set this one out. So that one took a couple more passes since it was so flat, but that would be acceptable in my shade tree mechanic ability. So let's put on the bow tie we just did for this crafty. I got some grease. I put a little grease on them for the next guy. Okay, here we go. I'll put a little grease here on the adapter. I generally don't grease up the threads, but I will this little washer here. I'll put a little dab right there. But I stay away from the threads itself. I don't want those lubricated. I want those to stay good and tight, just in case the bolt wants to back off. Just a little bit there on that surface. So when I do the top of the washer, it's going to come in contact with the head right here. Get my block in place. Make sure my blade, the two holes are lined up with the divot and the two divots in the adapter. Otherwise, you'll tighten it down. It won't be flat, and it'll vibrate like the dickens. So just put some meat into it till it doesn't tighten anymore, and that's what I do. So blades sharp, wheels have been oiled. It had pretty good looking oil in it when I took this thing in from the criminal. Okay, grab the pre-filter and the filter from the HIPAA kit. So I'll do a Lawrence Carroll on this thing. It had some, looks like gas spilling here. I did some of this, and probably when he didn't have the gasket in the bowl nut, it was just dropping gas all over the place. It kind of discolored the paint. We'll do the best we can with what we have. That's all you can do. No more, no less. Pre-filter goes down. This will trap a lot of crap before it fills in the paper veins. I hear a jet. Who's coming in? Oh, a huge private jet. Somebody's got money. Wow. It's not one of these little 4-seater, 5-seater jets. This thing was gigantic. Okay, fuel on. Let's get that prepared. Okay, glad you told me, reminded me to put the plug wire on the NGK. Thanks for that. Or I would have been pulling this thing in disgust. Who knows, it might not start. It's been 24 hours. Shit happens. Let me get over there and pull on it. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're not. What I'm going to do is put the pull handle up on the hooky dookie on the tubing, so I don't have to reach down there every time to grab the handle. Take care of that. Okay, let's go. Okay, extremely happy with this. We're nearly done. We'll just do a little Lawrence Carroll cleanup. I'm happy how this thing turned out. Kind of a cluster with him missing the parts, but I had enough stuff hanging around. Had a spring hanging around off a torn down engine I had gotten from my scrapper. I had already used the carb on a project, then I saw this spring. I had a tote box with all the engine parts in it. I still got the tank. I think I used the recoil off of that. So it's good to have junk hanging around. Otherwise, I would have had to go to Honda and order another spring. So blade sharp, you saw it kicking up a lot of sand and debris here, so that's working as it should. So I'm overall happy with how this thing turned out. Digital Music Services 1, I hope I showed you what you wanted to see on the blade sharpening. Anybody want to email me, send me pictures of your turds? Tommy.time at Yahoo. I appreciate it. You guys are the best coming out here, checking out junk on 4 wheels. Snakey really likes it too. So email me. Have a good rest of your week. Happy Monday, like I said. You want to communicate, you can do it below or Tommy.time at Yahoo. Okay, adios amigos. Tip your waitress and waitstaff.